The Zephyrian High Council's laughter echoed through their crystalline chamber as holographic displays showed the latest intelligence from human colonies. Ambassador Kethver gestured dismissively at the images of human soldiers in their bulky, cloth-like armor. "Look at this primitive technology," he sneered, his four eyes gleaming with amusement. "They cover themselves in layers of fabric, like frightened younglings, hiding under blankets." The other council members chittered in agreement, their scaled faces twisted in condescension. Commander Velthek studied the tactical reports with growing disdain, his claws scraping against the metal surface. As he reviewed footage of human military formations, the bipedal creatures moved awkwardly in their oversized gear, stumbling across alien terrain like newborns learning to walk. Their so-called body armor appears to be nothing more than thick cloth with metal plating, he announced to his war council. "Our plasma weaponry will burn through it like paper through flame. This will be the shortest conquest in galactic history." The war room erupted in cruel laughter as alien scouts transmitted real-time observations of human defensive positions. Through their advanced optics, they watched human soldiers adjusting their cumbersome suits, the fabric rippling in the alien breeze. "They can barely move in those ridiculous outfits," reported Scout Captain Nixera, her voice dripping with mockery. "Our thermal scans show the humans sweating profusely inside their primitive covering. They'll collapse from exhaustion before we fire a single shot." Beneath twin suns on the contested planet of Kepler-4, for to be human soldiers, moved with deliberate precision through the crimson dust, their armored forms casting long shadows across the battlefield. Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Rivera adjusted his suit's environmental controls and spoke quietly into his com. "All units, maintain formation. Remember, we're in the testing phase." His team's armor gleamed with an almost organic sheen, the advanced polymer we've designed to appear deceptively simple to enemy scanners. Hidden in the jagged rock formations above, Zephyrian scouts continued their surveillance, their superior vision tracking every human movement. "They're positioning themselves in the open valley," reported one scout, mandibles clicking with amusement. "Either they're incredibly stupid, or they believe their cloth armor will protect them from our plasma cannons. Shall we end this charade quickly?" The scout commander's response was a series of harsh barks that translated to aggressive approval. Rivera's voice cut through the static with calm authority as his sensors detected the approaching enemy forces. "Steady, people. Let them come." Dr. Martinez spent 3 years perfecting this technology, and today we find out if her theories hold water. Around him, 50 of humanity's finest soldiers checked their equipment one final time. The supposedly primitive armor, humming almost imperceptibly with dormant energy collectors and adaptive nanomesh systems. The first wave of Zephyrian infantry crested the ridge like a metallic tsunami, their plasma rifles charging with deadly violet light. The alien soldiers moved with predatory grace, confident in their technological superiority as they took aim at the clustered humans below. "Target practice," growled Infantry Captain Zethmel, raising his weapon. "These soft creatures don't even have proper cover. Fire at will." 30 plasma cannons erupted simultaneously, painting the valley in brilliant purple fire. As superheated energy bolts screamed toward the human positions, the Zephyrians watched with anticipation, expecting to see flesh and primitive armor vaporized instantly. Instead, the valley filled with blinding light as the energy struck the human soldiers. Alien laughter rose above the sound of weapons fire, premature victory celebrations echoing across the battlefield. As the light faded and smoke cleared, gasps of disbelief replaced the laughter. Every human soldier remained standing exactly where they had been, their armor now glowing with a soft blue radiance. Not a single human had fallen, and their supposedly fragile covering showed no signs of damage. The Zephyrians stared in stunned silence as Sergeant Hayes turned toward the alien positions and spoke into his external speakers. "Thanks for the charge-up, boys. Our batteries were running low." Captain Zethmel's weapon trembled in his claws as he processed what he was witnessing. The energy readings from his plasma rifle confirmed that every shot had found its target. Yet the humans stood unharmed. Worse, their armor was now radiating energy signatures that matched his weapon's output. "Impossible," he whispered, his voice carrying across the battlefield. "Nothing can absorb pure plasma energy. Nothing." Human sensors confirmed what their eyes could see. The armor's energy absorption matrix had successfully converted the alien plasma into usable power. Technical Sergeant Williams watched her heads-up display with satisfaction as power levels climbed to 40% capacity. Phase 1 complete, Colonel. The absorption rate exceeded all laboratory projections. We're ready to proceed to Phase 2 testing. The Zephyrian artillery commander received frantic reports from his forward observers, their voices thick with panic and disbelief. Without hesitation, he ordered his heavy weapons teams to open fire with their most powerful energy cannons. Maximum power, continuous bombardment. The ground shook as massive weapon emplacements swiveled toward the human positions, their charging sequences creating an ominous whine that built to a deafening crescendo. The second barrage was 100 times more powerful than the first, a sustained beam of destruction that should have reduced the entire valley to molten glass. The humans braced themselves as their armor automatically adjusted to handle the massive energy influx. Through the blinding cascade of fire, the Zephyrians could barely make out human silhouettes, standing motionless as their suits drank in the deadly energy, like plants absorbing sunlight. When the artillery finally ceased fire, the aliens found themselves staring at 50 human soldiers whose armor now blazed with captured energy. Power indicators showed 95% capacity, and the adaptive plating had begun to shimmer with an almost liquid quality. Private Rodriguez flexed his fingers, feeling the suit's enhanced strength systems respond to the massive power boost. "I feel like I could punch through a starship hull," he muttered into his cum. "This is incredible." Colonel Rivera raised his hand, and every human soldier shifted into attack formation with perfect synchronization. The absorbed energy now coursed through their weapon systems, transforming standard kinetic rifles into devastatingly powerful directed energy weapons. "Target their heavy artillery first," Rivera commanded. "Let's show them what happens when you feed a human war machine." The first return shot from the human positions was a lance of pure white energy that vaporized 3 Zephyrian artillery pieces instantly. The beam continued its path, carving through solid rock before finally dissipating in the atmosphere. Alien crews scattered from their weapons as more shots followed, each one powered by their own captured plasma. The irony was not lost on the watching Zephyrian command staff. Humanity was destroying them with their own stolen energy. Panic spread through the Zephyrian ranks like wildfire, as their strongest weapons proved not only ineffective but counterproductive. Infantry units broke formation and fled as human soldiers advanced steadily up the ridge, their armor adapting and evolving with each step. What had begun as a simple extermination mission had become a nightmare of reversed roles and impossible technology. Commander Velthak screamed orders at his communications array, demanding an immediate bombardment from the orbital fleet. "Use everything. Antimatter charges, fusion missiles, quantum disruptors. I don't care if we glass this entire continent." His voice cracked with desperation as he watched his ground forces dissolve into chaos. The orbital response was swift. Every weapon in the Zephyrian arsenal began charging for a planet-killing barrage. The sky turned white as fusion fire rained from above, followed by antimatter explosions that should have cracked the planet's crust. For 30 minutes, the Zephyrians poured their entire military might onto the human positions, using weapons that could have destroyed entire fleets. When the bombardment ended, they waited for confirmation that the valley had been reduced to a crater. Instead, their sensors showed 50 human signatures, now radiating energy levels that exceeded small suns. The armor had evolved during the bombardment, growing denser and more complex as it adapted to each new form of energy. Corporal Jackson's suit displayed power readings that broke his instrument's measurement scales. "Sir, I think we just absorbed enough energy to power a small city for a year. The armor is asking if we want to go to full combat mode." The response from human command was immediate and broadcast on all frequencies, a message intended for the entire galaxy. Rivera's voice carried the calm authority of Earth's military as he spoke into the communications array. "This is Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Rivera of the Terran Defense Force. To all listening civilizations, we warned you that humanity does not seek conflict, but we will not back down when threatened. Today you have seen what happens when you attack us with energy weapons. Tomorrow, you will learn what our kinetic weapons can do." Across the galaxy, the footage spread like wildfire through communication networks. Alien species that had dismissed humanity as primitive watched in horror as human soldiers shrugged off planet-killing weapons. The images of glowing armor and advancing humans became symbols of a new reality. Earth's children were not the helpless prey they appeared to be. The Zephyrian High Council convened an emergency session as reports flooded in from their military commanders. Every engagement with human forces had ended the same way. Alien weapons making humans stronger while accomplishing nothing. Ambassador Kethfer, who had mocked human technology hours earlier, now trembled as he read the energy absorption efficiency reports. "They're not just immune to our weapons," he whispered, "they're feeding on them." Human reinforcements arrived as the sun set, their ships descending through an atmosphere still crackling with residual energy from the bombardment. The soldiers on the ground had become walking batteries of destruction, their armor so charged with stolen power that it illuminated the landscape around them. Every footstep left glowing prints in the alien soil, and their weapons hummed with barely contained energy. Zephyrian survivors huddled in their bunkers, listening to the approaching footsteps of human soldiers who had absorbed their entire arsenal and become stronger with every attack. The sound of human voices carried across the battlefield, not the screams of the dying they had expected to hear, but calm tactical communications and occasional laughter. The psychological impact was devastating. How do you fight an enemy that grows stronger when you attack them? The final confrontation came as human soldiers reached the main Zephyrian command post, their armor blazing like miniature stars in the alien twilight. Commander Velthak emerged under a white flag, his proud bearing broken by the impossibility of his situation. Rivera accepted the surrender with professional courtesy, though his armor's energy readings suggested he could have vaporized the entire base with a thought. News of the battle reached Earth within hours, where crowds gathered around public screens to watch their soldiers standing victorious on an alien world. Children pressed their faces against the glass, watching the glowing figures of human warriors, who had turned enemy weapons into sources of strength. The message was clear to every species in the galaxy. Humanity's greatest strength was not their technology, but their refusal to be broken by any force. In research facilities across human space, Dr. Elena Martinez and her team reviewed the combat data with quiet satisfaction. The absorption matrix armor had performed beyond their wildest projections, not only protecting soldiers, but turning every attack into a source of power. The alien mockery of human cloth armor had become their greatest mistake. Underestimating human ingenuity always carried a terrible price. The galaxy began to rewrite their military doctrines overnight, adding new categories for humanity's unique defensive capabilities. Energy weapons, the cornerstone of advanced civilizations for millennia, had become humanity's greatest gift. Young Zephyrian cadets would learn that attacking humans with energy weapons was equivalent to arming them, while alien generals studied footage of the battle for clues on how to fight an enemy that grew stronger under fire. As the human soldiers finally powered down their suits and prepared for extraction, the battlefield fell silent except for the crackling of residual energy. 50 humans had withstood the full might of an advanced alien military and emerged not just victorious, but more powerful than before. The armor that aliens had mocked as primitive cloth now stood as humanity's greatest achievement, a perfect fusion of defensive technology and adaptive evolution. The message spreading across interstellar networks was simple and terrifying to humanity's enemies. Earth's children had turned warfare into a source of strength. Every attack made them harder to kill. Every weapon fired at them became their weapon. And every attempt to destroy them only proved why the galaxy had learned to whisper the same phrase in 1,000 different languages. Never underestimate Earth. Please subscribe for more powerful sci-fi stories.